Welcome back. You're watching WION World is One with me, Raisha Sehgal, and this is Speed News. We get you the latest from all across the globe. Let's get you started. US President Joe Biden has said that Washington will not support Israeli strikes on Iran's nuclear sites in response to its ballistic missile attack on Tuesday. This comes day after Iran fired more than 180 missiles at Israel, an operation Biden previously described as ineffective. Biden said that all 7 G7 nations agree that they have a right to respond, but should respond proportionally. He also said more sanctions will be imposed on Iran and that he will speak with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu. Israel bombed central Beirut in the early hours of Thursday, killing at least 6 people after its forces suffered their deadliest day on the Lebanese front in a year of clashes against Hezbollah. Israel said it conducted a precise airstrike on Beirut, targeting a building close to the Lebanese parliament and United Nations regional headquarters. Israel said that the multi-story building housed a Hezbollah-affiliated health center. This is the first Israeli strike so close to the center of Beirut. Central Israel was targeted in a pair of overnight drone attacks. IDF says while it downed 2 hostile drones, the third landed in an open area near Tel Aviv suburb. There were no reports of injuries in the overnight attack, which came as Israeli Jews celebrate the Rosh Hashanah holiday. The Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen have taken responsibility for overnight drone attacks on central Israel. Satellite images of an aircraft at a key Israeli military airbase taken after a massive barrage of Iranian missiles appear to show a large hole in the roof. Large pieces of debris can be seen spread around the building at the Nevatim Air Base. Nevatim is home to the Israeli Air Force's most advanced aircraft, including US-manufactured F-35 Lightning II stealth fighter jets. It is not clear from the satellite imagery whether any aircraft were in the airbase when it was struck. Nevatim also sustained light damage during an Iranian missile and drone attack in April. Bangladesh's interim government issues orders recalling 5 envoys to key capitals and world bodies. Mission leaders have been called back to Dhaka from India, United Nations and even Australia, Belgium and Portugal. 3 other ministry officials have also been transferred by separate orders. The shake-up in the overseas mission comes as a part of the changeover in the administration following the fall of Sheikh Hasina's Awami League government in August this year. Singapore's former Transport Minister S. Iswaran, who was the minister for 13 years, has been sentenced to 12 months in jail after he pleaded guilty to 5 charges relating to corruption and blocking of justice in the High Court on September 24th. A High Court judge sentenced 62-year-old Iswaran after his decision to plead guilty on the first day of the trial proceedings. He had pleaded guilty to receiving more than $300,000 worth of gifts from 2 businessmen, among other charges. Dominican Republic has announced it plans to start massive repatriation of Haitians residing illegally in the country. Officials say that up to 10,000 undocumented migrants will be repatriated per week and that they would facilitate the voluntary return of others. This decision comes after a meeting between President Luis Abinader and military and intelligence chiefs. Well, last year, The authorities deported over 174,000 Haitian immigrants. In one of her first acts after taking office, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum offered an official apology for the massacre of students by the army in 1968. According to official figures, 30 people died when security forces opened fire at students holding a peaceful rally in the Tlatelolco district of Mexico City days before the country hosted the Olympics Games. Sheinbaum said that a decree would be issued describing the killings as a crime against humanity and promised that never again would the security forces be used to attack or repress the people of Mexico. Republican presidential contestant and former U.S. President Donald Trump's wife, Melania, has voiced strong support for abortion rights in her upcoming memoir. She wrote that it is imperative to guarantee that women have autonomy in deciding their preference of having a child or not. Her remarks in her upcoming memoir come in sharp contrast with Donald Trump's view that U.S. states should be free to decide their own restrictions on abortion. Abortion is one of the key issues ahead of the U.S. elections, with polls showing that Democrat Kamala Harris holds a major lead over Trump on the topic with the voters in the U.S. New Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's cabinet approval rating came to 51% in a poll conducted in the country. According to reports, this is the lowest inaugural rating in data going back to 2002. Well, Ishiba's predecessor, Fumio Kishida, had an initial approval rating of 59% before Ishiba took office on Tuesday. Typhoon Krathun made landfall in Taiwan's south after forcing schools and offices to shut for a second day amid winds and rain that have left 2 dead and more than 100 injured. According to the Central Weather Administration, Krathun was packing sustained wind speeds of 126 kilometers per hour and gusts of up to 162 kilometers per hour just before reaching the southern seaport city of Kaohsiung. The government has now issued warning to residents asking them to take shelter from gushing winds. Several domestic and international flights have also been cancelled. Federal Emergency Management Agency and U.S. military personnel across the southeastern U.S. are undertaking cleanup and aid distribution operations after Storm Helene ripped through several states, causing devastation and killing at least 155 people. The Philippines will start imposing a 12% value-added tax or VAT on foreign digital service providers like Amazon, Netflix, Disney and Alphabet to level the competition with local businesses. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. signed the law on Wednesday, extending the VAT to non-resident companies offering streaming and online services. The Bureau of Internal Revenue Commissioner has explained that the step ensures fair competition between foreign and domestic firms. Well, until now, only local digital service providers were required to pay the 12% VAT. Meta is cracking down on deep fakes and scam pages to reduce fraudulent content on Facebook and Instagram in Australia. In collaboration with the Australian Financial Crimes Exchange, Meta has launched the Fraud Intelligence Reciprocal Exchange, also called FIRE. It is a platform that allows banks and Meta to share information on scams. This initiative has already blocked 8,000 pages and removed 9,000 celebrity scam cases. From January to August 2024, Australians reported $43.4 million in social media scam losses, with $30 million tied to fake investment schemes. The EU Commission has asked YouTube, Snapchat and TikTok for details on how the algorithms recommend content. This request is to understand the role these platforms may play in amplifying risks, such as those affecting elections, mental health and the safety of minors. The EU inquiry also focuses on how these companies prevent their algorithms from spreading illegal content like hate speech or promoting illegal drugs. The platforms have until November 15th to respond, after which the EU could impose fine. The U.S. National Labor Relations Board has filed a complaint against Apple, alleging that the company has violated workers' rights to organize and improve working conditions. The complaint claims that Apple forced employees across the U.S. to sign illegal non-disclosure agreements and enforced overly restrictive rules on misconduct and social media use. In response, Apple has stated that it respects workers' rights to discuss wages, hours and conditions. If not resolved, the case will go before an administrative judge in January next year. Toyota Motor has announced that it will postpone the start of electric vehicle production in North America to the first half of 2026. The delay is attributed to design adjustments and a slowdown in EV sales. Initially scheduled to begin in late 2025, manufacturing of Toyota's first battery EV model, which is a 3-row SUV, will now likely commence in early 2026. The decision to delay follows earlier reports indicating that supply disruptions and governance issues had already pushed back the start date by 6 months. While the company had planned to manufacture EV SUVs under its luxury Lexus brand in North America by 2030, it has since scrapped this plan in favor of importing completed vehicles from Japan. Despite these challenges, Toyota is still planning to introduce 5 to 7 battery electric vehicles models in the US in the next 2 years. Tesla deliveries fall short of analyst estimates for the September quarter. This marks the first growth of the year for Tesla, but raises concerns about the company's ability to meet its annual supply target of 1.81 million vehicles. Well, to achieve this, Tesla must deliver a record 516,000 vehicles in the fourth quarter. The company's shares dropped more than 6% following the announcement, wiping out nearly all gains for the year. Contributing factors include increased competition from Chinese manufacturers like BYD and Xpeng, as well as a shift in consumer preference towards hybrid vehicles. Tesla's performance in Europe has also been hindered by lack of local subsidies. ChatGPT maker OpenAI has raised $6.6 billion in new funding round. This potentially values the company at $157 billion, making it one of the world's most valuable private firms. This funding round attracted returning investors such as Thrive Capital alongside major backers, including Microsoft and Nvidia. The closing of this round coincides with OpenAI's restructuring efforts and the recent departure of Chief Technology Officer Meera Murati. Following the funding, OpenAI Chief Financial Officer Sarah Fryer indicated that employees would have an opportunity to sell back shares, although details are yet to be finalized. Dock workers striking at U.S. East Coast and Gulf Coast ports are disrupting imports of essential food items, including beef, seafood, and other products. This can potentially lead to shortages and price inflation. Well, more than 50 container ships are currently anchored off these ports, exacerbating supply chain issues as domestic beef supplies tighten due to drought and high grain prices. Industry members warn that prolonged disruptions could majorly impact the food supply chain. This can force fast food chains to turn to more expensive domestic options.